Today we are talking about the... No, why'd you beat me? It's FN is the company name. 509 LS Edge. Are you ready? Stand by. Welcome back to the Humble Marksman channel. I'm David and I'll be your guide in pursuit of practical pistol proficiency. On deck today is the new from FN. It is the 509 LS Edge, their precious entry into the tactical practical marketplace. And this gun is the collaboration of Tim Kennedy and Dave Savigny. So Tim Kennedy said he will jujitsu you if you don't pick up a 509. So the 509 has been often overlooked within the gamer and a kind of hobbyist set because generally it is a little bit higher price. The triggers in the past models have not been particularly remarkable, didn't compete well. That's all changed with the new striker they've introduced with the LS Edge. FN has managed to drop the trigger pull weight out of the box with a stated 5-pound trigger pull weight and a new flat face trigger to compete more favorably with the other entrants in the market. And this gun is actually quite interesting, and it took its compact frame. This is actually where the plastic stops, a 15-round frame with an integral aluminum magwell at the bottom. This is a particularly interesting feature because if you're somebody who does a lot of reload practice, like I do as a competitive shooter, you'll know that the magwells get chewed up pretty badly. So having an aluminum, it could be sacrificial. If you beat it up too bad, you can still restore it, and the gun will stay in operation for a long time. So that is very forward thinking. I don't know if USPSA is going to allow this magwell since it is a flush length similar to a 509 tactical length there, but I'm hopeful that they will because the prospect of an integral magwell, it's no different than like a Glock Gen 5 magwell, but it is aluminum, so it's going to take a hit from T-lips. I mean, this is very forward thinking by FN. So if you enjoy this kind of content, I need you to go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe, then go onto Facebook and share this with all of your groups saying, hey, look at this idiot, look how dumb he is. And while you're in the neighborhood, go ahead, hit the description. There's links to some interesting stuff. There is a link to my OnlyFans where you get 3 to 5 exclusive posts per week. I mean, Patreon, go to Patreon, guys. And a link to join Big Daddy Unlimited. It's a buyer's club for Second Amendment stuff where just $1 gets you wholesale pricing on things you'd probably find interesting. So initial impressions for this pistol. While Dave Savigny, as I understand it, is involved in the development of this pistol, Tim Kennedy is the face, so he is the tactical, and Dave Savigny would be the practical. The 509 LS Edge is going to be more like a Glock 34. It is a 5-inch gun, and basically they took a 4-inch tactical slide, bolted on an extra inch, and then they gave it an awesome high power cut on the edge, and then they gave it some window cuts, because if you go to the match, you have to be able to see your barrel. That's like the second rule of USPSA. You have to be able to see the barrel on your gun. The 509 Edge actually does feel like a quality pistol. The trigger shoe is a straight trigger, and it breaks at a full 90 degrees. It is polymer, but it is very solid. The grip texture is very aggressive. It is everything you would want for a competitive shooting piece, or if you're a duty guy and just wear gloves, this is a very good traction for that. The front and back straps have large bumps that kind of suck the flesh of your palm into the gun, so the gun stays absolutely planted. As I was shooting it today, I didn't use any pro grip and the gun didn't move around at all. So the frame has a very interesting shape to it. It kind of comes to a tapered point where it's a little bit narrower across the front strap than it is across the back. If you're not accustomed to a gun that is this shape, it makes it a little bit harder to stabilize and recoil, but it didn't take long to figure out how to be gripping the gun to get it to track stably. The trigger guard has a good relief, and the grip tang, how they molded the grip tang on the gun, it's the same as all the other 509s, but they did a very, very good job at how it just sits in the web of your hand. They did a wonderful job with that. Moving up onto the slide is kind of interesting. I mean, you've got your high power cut, which is awesome. You have these beautiful window cuts in here. So talking about the window cuts, they're actually functional. It's not just all jazz. They actually have these little like dovetail serrations in between the window cuts. So when you manipulate the gun from the fore of the pistol, it absolutely bites your hands. You really can't screw it up. What's also interesting about the FN 509 slide is the way that they took weight out of it. Like, it's an exaggerated tri-top where they slenderized the top of it to get all of the mass as low down on the gun as they can, and that most of the mass is at the back of the slide here. What's interesting is when you take the slide off the frame, they've basically hollowed out all of the area around the striker channel to further reduce the weight, because this 5-inch slide weighs about a ½ ounce more than the 4-inch tactical slide, which is quite interesting. And out of the box, it does come with a blacked out rear sight and a fiber optic front. I am so glad manufacturers are getting on board with this in a practical application beyond just a competition gun. When I carry irons, this is the iron setup I put on my non-dot guns, and it's great to see that manufacturers are starting to put them on serious use guns. The controls have ambi slide stop, and the mag catch is reversible. And the gun has a very good balance to it. The gun weighs about 30 ounces unloaded, plus an optic, plus ammunition. So it actually handles pretty well. It is a heavier, lightweight gun. So it's not as light as, say, a Glock, but it's not going to be as heavy as the middleweights like the Berettas, those kinds of guns. And as far as shooting it goes, once I got used to it, the gun absolutely got out of the way. All I noticed was the dot, which is exactly what you want in a pistol. So I haven't mentioned the price. The 509 LS Edge is going to come to market at $14.99 MSRP, which, yes, is a lot of money. But if you consider that Staccato is a plastic gun that costs $2,500, I mean, the precedent is there. The quality, as far as the strike-to-fire pistol goes, is very, very high. The actual quality of the trigger is acceptable. It's not like Canik or Walter amazing, but it is quite solid. It's going to compare better than Glocks or basically most other plastic guns. It is a acceptably good trigger. While the weight is stated as being at 5 pounds, this gun having over 1,400 rounds through it, the pull weight is dropped below 4 pounds. So the trigger is actually really, really good. The optics mounting system is what really sets apart the 509 series from the rest of the field. Most of the optics mounting systems that are on production guns is dodgy at best. The little steel plates from Glocks get warped. The aluminum ones can have their threads strip out. And FN came up with an interesting concept where they have the recoil bosses that actually go down on the slide itself with a little O-ring, and then you use a spacer shim for whatever your optic is to elevate the optic so that the co-witness works out, which is honestly pretty forward thinking. And pretty amazingly, the screws do not require Loctite in the FN solution due to the O-rings that they use. So Patrick, who was kind enough to let me shoot this at the range today, who is a professional gun media guy, has shot over 20,000 rounds through the FN MRD optic mounting system, and the screws have never backed out, and he's never lost zero due to the mount shifting. So I only got to shoot this gun for a few hundred rounds. You've got to see a lot of it in the B-roll here. And I have to say that I'm not sold on the price, but I really, really like the quality. Like, I keep coming back to this Magwell and how the grip is set up. It's really, really good, and I honestly don't think there is another pistol on the market that's doing the plastic thing quite like this. I really think that FN got their formula right. It's just going to be an individual decision on value as to whether that's worth it to you. And I can't wait for other gun manufacturers to totally ape FN's design. If they're smart, they probably patented it. But I really hope that this is the direction of plastic striker guns going forward, because this is a high quality striker gun. I could see tens of thousands of rounds, no problem, on this, and it holding up like a steel 1911, 2011, where the frame and slide is good basically indefinitely. You just have to rebarrel it. So I really like the gun, if I'm honest, guys. I think the 509 Edge is pretty good, and I did not like the 509 generally from the examples I'd shot previously. So this thing, they did a good job with it. I appreciate you guys watching. YouTube thinks you'll really like this video, so you should watch that video. But if you don't like that video, you can watch this video on recoil management. It's helped a lot of people. I appreciate you guys. Catch you on the next.